On this edition of Good Day DePaul, DePaul students vote on divesting from companies doing business with Israel.
Bike and scooter theft at DePaul. It's a continuing problem.
And a Chicago area woman is living the Olympic dream. I'm Max Raymond.
And I'm Adit Jagannathan. And this is Good Day DePaul.
Divestment. It was the key issue during the 17-day protest encampment on the Lincoln Park campus. The protesters wanted DePaul to divest from any companies doing military business with Israel. Now, students at DePaul have voted on this issue. Good Day DePaul's Hannah Lopez has details.
The DePaul student government election results are in. Isabella Ali and Samara Smith were elected president and vice president for the upcoming school year. They defeated Victoria Tavan and Dominic Rinker. Students also approved by a 91% vote a referendum calling for DePaul to divest from companies doing business with the Israeli military and other companies that profit from the war in Gaza. This was the primary demand of the protesters who occupied the Lincoln Park Quad last month. DePaul students approved a similar divestment referendum, but the university took no action on their demands. Masuma Takvoy, the SGA's Elections Operation Board chair, sees similarities between this year's referendum and the one in 2014.
As far as the referendum itself goes, because this is the first step to kind of getting admin to look at this again, and with the new president, seeing that majority of the student body did vote in favor of the referendum, I don't know what to say about what's going to happen in the future, but as of now, I do see a parallel, and I can see the university reacting in a similar way that they did before.
The same day that the election results were released, protesters held a sit-in at the Arts and Letters Lecture Hall, hanging a banner from the main staircase that read, "DePaul funds genocide." They also dropped flyers from the third floor. Meanwhile, on May 8th, the university terminated an adjunct instructor after she reportedly included pro-Palestinian comments in an assignment given to her students. The university provided the following statement to Good Day DePaul about the termination of the teacher. DePaul University is committed to academic freedom and free speech. We are also unwavering in our commitment to ensure that no acts of hatred, discrimination, harassment, Islamophobia, or anti-Semitism are tolerated in our community. On May 8th, we received multiple complaints from students regarding an assignment in Health 194, Human Pathogens and Defense. The course introduces students to diverse microorganisms that cause significant diseases within the human population. The students expressed significant concern about the introduction of political matters into the class. We investigated the matter, spoke with the faculty member, and found it had negatively affected the learning environment. The class now has a new instructor, and the faculty member has been released from their appointment as a part-time faculty member at DePaul University. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Hannah Lopez.
DePaul Public Safety says there have been a number of bike and scooter thefts on and around campus. They say bikes and scooters are easy to steal because they could be easily rolled away or fit in a car. To prevent this, they are offering these suggestions. First, use a hard U-lock rather than a cable lock. Cable locks can be cut. Second, lock your bike's frame and wheels. Third, lock them to a firmly fixed rack and pole. And fourth, always lock your bike or scooter even if you're leaving just for a moment.
Live music. It's everywhere in Chicago, and it's one of the things that attracts some students to DePaul. And with summer coming, it's going to be offered in many different venues. Good Day DePaul's Tori Trevino explains.
Chicago's music festival season is already approaching. Sueños is taking place this weekend, and Lollapalooza tickets are already selling out. Chicago residents are now reflecting on last year's festival season and what this one might bring.
I've been to Lollapalooza, Riot Fest, Pitchfork, and I don't know if you count Reset.
Sarah Holtz is a sophomore at DePaul coming from the Chicago suburbs. She's been going to music festivals in Chicago since she was a teenager, though it's not her usual scene.
I typically like to go to smaller shows, just because they're less expensive and I guess I listen to smaller artists.
A festival like Lollapalooza can be a bit overwhelming for Holtz. She compares it to other festivals, saying Riot Fest is more chill.
Because it's also not as big of a production. Like, I remember seeing Tyler, the Creator, at Lollapalooza, and that was like one of the best performances I've ever seen. But that was a lot. Like, his set had flames, a boat, like, people wait all day to be front row. And obviously they do at Riot Fest too, but it's nowhere near as big of a production. Like, there's a big screen and, you know, some effects, but nothing to that level.
Nevertheless, Holtz could definitely see herself attending these festivals again this summer.
I would do all of them again, all that I've been to. I am planning on going to Lollapalooza again this summer for all 4 days.
The Riot Fest lineup can be expected by early June. Lollapalooza's 4-day, Friday, and Saturday general admission tickets are on waitlist. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Tori Trevino.
Next on Good Day DePaul Sports, a Chicago athlete prepares for the Olympics.
That story when we return.
I think we should split. Split up? Why? I want to meet new people. People who need me. Meet new people? You're my left kidney. You only need one of me, man. And you have two. There are plenty of people out there who are dying because they don't have one. Really? You'll be giving the gift of life. I could be a hero. Yeah. It's all win-win up here, buddy. Why don't you go and save a life, pal? You're doing the right thing.
Samantha Davis is here now with Good Day DePaul Sports. Samantha?
Thanks, Max. 7 DePaul track and field athletes traveled to Arkansas to compete in the West preliminary rounds to qualify for the NCAA Outdoor Championships. Darius Brown, Jetta Mays, Cash Allen, Jaya Hopf, Billy Martin, Charlotte Anderson, and Olivia Burrowick were among the athletes. Brown is moving on to the championships in the 110-meter men's hurdles after placing 7th in the event and breaking a new personal best time of 13:42. He's broken the DePaul men's hurdle time 3 times this season. Mays broke the DePaul record in the women's 100-meter race with a time of 11:40 and also ran 23:48 in the 200-meter race. Cash Allen threw 15.61 in the women's shot put, Billy Martin threw 55.76 in the hammer throw, and Charlotte Anderson completed a 42.21 meter throw in the javelin competition. The preliminaries finished with Hopf in the triple jump, recording a 12.65 meters, and Burrowick with a time of 16:34 in the 5,000 meter race. The new DePaul men's basketball coach, Chris Holtman, sat down with ABC 7 Chicago to discuss how he's feeling about the team 2 months into the job. Holtman acknowledged how DePaul basketball fans are craving for success and his plan to fulfill that.
They are hungry. They are so hungry. I think for a relevant college basketball team in this new era of college basketball and in the Big East, which is typically, as you know, the top 2 or 3 league in the country, they're really hungry. I think in these first couple years, how we play, how we compete, the way in which we go about it, I think will be really fun and engaging for fans to watch and take hold of.
A Chicago sailor, Maggie Shea, is preparing to compete in the upcoming Paris Summer Olympics. Shea grew up racing on Lake Michigan and has been taking her talents overseas. I sat down with Shea to discuss her journey and how she's preparing for the games.
Maggie Shea, a sailor from Chicago, is preparing to compete on the world's biggest stage in this summer's Paris Olympics. Shea is on the 49er FX United States team, a women's 2-person sailboat with partner Steph Roble. Shea first got exposed to the sport of sailing through her grandfather, John Nadeau. She then raced at the Chicago Yacht Club in their junior sailing program.
I first started sailing with my family on Lake Michigan. My grandpa had a big family boat that we all sailed on, and we did like deliveries and overnights on, and all of the non-racing stuff too was a huge part of it.
Shea's grandfather sailed for decades and showed her the lifestyle she grew to love and wanted to pursue professionally.
We'd start the race and he'd say to the whole crew, he'd gather everyone in the cockpit and he'd say, hey, I just want you all to know there's nowhere else I'd rather be right now. And that really stuck with me because there were these times when I was like competing at regattas and would have rather been at prom or at some part, you know what I mean? Like when I would rather like been socializing and doing kind of normal things, because sailing requires a lot of travel and huge time commitment. But I did have the sense of like, there's nowhere I'd rather be. Like I'm in the right spot. I'm doing the right thing. I love this.
When it comes to sailing, weather and wind play a huge factor in performance. Shay tries to develop adaptability and flexibility, and also knowing when to change plans while in the water.
I'd say sailing days are so different every single day. And that's kind of the beauty and the challenge of our sport, is that no race course is ever the same. No, even if the wind is like a predictable pattern, it will be, every race will be so different from the last. And we sail against the same boats, but everyone is different every time. So I guess that's one of the hardest things to anticipate.
Shay and her partner, Steph Roble, will be competing in the Olympics for the second time. The two have been sailing with or against each other since they were 14 and have shared the same boat since 2016. The two participated in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, placing 11th. Shay also has appeared in every Sailing World Championship since 2014 and has claimed bronze in 2020 for the 49er FX race and in the 2014 match race.
Sailing on the international stage is amazing. It's such an honor. It makes you really proud to represent the United States. You know, every time we sail with the American flag, it sort of reminds you that we're representing something more than just our team and our little sailing team. You know, we're part of something bigger.
The sailing competition in the Olympics will be held in the Marseille Marina, a seaside town south of France on the Mediterranean Sea. To prepare, Shay practices worst-case scenarios in the water, gets used to living internationally, and acknowledges the high-pressure situation that comes with the Olympic platform.
The conditions are tricky, and they're very unique to the south of France and the Mediterranean. So we spend a lot of time studying the wind patterns and what we experience and what our teammates experience and what wins in regattas and what loses, and then which weather reporting system is the best, and what are the currents and tides doing, and what are the local, I could go on and on and on, but there's a ton of local knowledge that we need to learn.
Shay also said she draws inspiration from knowing there are fans at home watching her compete on an international stage, drawing in motivation to bring home hardware. Currently training overseas, Shay and her partner will set sail and compete for gold at the Games starting in late July.
And that's sports. Back to you, Audit.
Coming up, conviction and incarceration. A DePaul event looks at these issues. Stay with us.
Today, the heroes that fight day in and day out on the front lines. Those who are there, innovating in real time, saving lives and answering the call to care in times of crisis. American nurses. Nurses who have been there for each and every one of us in times of crisis for more than 150 years. Nurses are the pillar of strength and the foundation of healthcare and life itself. Nurses are there the day we are born. They are there when your family is in crisis, and they are there in the end. In confronting the most catastrophic health crisis in modern history, we must remember our American nurse heroes need our support as much as we need them. To show our gratitude for their courage and ensure they receive the critical education and support services they need, donate to the Coronavirus Response Fund for Nurses today, in honor of your American nurse hero.
On June 10th, DePaul will hold a meeting on the impacts of conviction and incarceration. More specifically, the panelists will discuss how incarceration affects voting representation in Illinois. The event will be from 7 to 8:30 at Lincoln Yards at 1229 West Concord Place.
That's all for this week's edition of Good Day DePaul. You can keep up with us by visiting our Vimeo channel at Good Day DePaul or by going to goodday.depaul.edu.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook.
And if you have any news tips, message us through the Good Day DePaul social media channels.
Thanks for watching. I'm Max Raymond.
And I'm Adit Jagannathan. Have a good day, DePaul.